Hello everybody, this is Kyle Byron, the Toronto Nutritionist, and today we're going to talk about canned goods. This of course is a hot topic right now with the pandemic and our reduced logistical system, leaving the house less. So we should be relying on canned goods more if we're going to obey the recommendations of staying inside. So let's talk about canned goods. Here I have some mushrooms, green peas, some canned chicken, I think, or turkey, some canned meat, and then of course some chunky soup or a stew. And I'm not promoting any of these brands necessarily, that's just what we have in our home. Okay, here we go. Canned goods are generally safe to eat, okay? So there is a food inspection agency that looks at all the food products. It's a very rigorous testing process. Now, of course, sometimes things happen in the factories and things get poisoned, like there's some companies, and I'm not going to name any names, but in the last few years, this same company has been putting out, food with poisons in it. So there's a poisoning risk, just like if you buy something, fresh from the deli or from your local trusted farmer's market, there's always a food safety risk. That's why we have to have best food safe handling practices in the home. For example, if you open a can and everything explodes out of it, like a tomato paste can, and it's squirting out of it, that means a bacterial, like a non-oxygen needing or an anaerobic bacteria has infected the can, and it's all exploding because of the pressure that's built up. It's been brewing in there, and then that could kill you or make you very sick. Or nothing could happen, but it's definitely a risk. So if you open up a can and it explodes all the contents out, don't eat it. Especially, you might also notice that the can has been warped. It's it's right about to explode. That's also a hint that there's some poisoning happening inside. Okay, so now we're going to talk about nutrients. We're going to talk about the big nutrients and then get down into the little tiny nutrients. So what are the big nutrients? They're called macronutrients, and of course they are protein, carbs, fat, and then alcohol is one of the macronutrients as well. So in a canning process, those macronutrients are totally fine. Okay, next. Vitamins like A, E, D, and K, and if you know your nutrition, you know that those are the fat-soluble vitamins, and those generally are sort of maintained in these foods, and if they're occurring naturally, they're going to be there, or sometimes they're supplemented into foods. Like vitamin D is often supplemented into some foods like dairy products. However, vitamin C and B, these are the water-soluble vitamins. They're a little more fragile. They can definitely be taken out. They can be not manufacturally removed, but just through the process, they either denature or they become ineffective or their quality goes down. That being said, sometimes a canning process can actually preserve those nutrients, so it's not really clear. Same thing with antioxidants, okay? That we get from blueberries and peaches and carrots and those colorful fruits and vegetables. Those can actually go up or down, it just sort of depends, and so I'm going to give you some supplement recommendations in a second here based on that, okay? So, protein, carbs, and fat, that's fine, it's the same. Some vitamins are going to be there and some aren't, and some micronutrients, antioxidants, and that not going to be there as well. Minerals are pretty much good to go there. So what supplements should we take? Pretty much the same thing that you might hear me say already. So protein powder, and we're going to look at some labels here in a second why I might recommend that. Greens powder, so the dehydrated greens, it kind of tastes yucky, the green drink like Tony Stark would drink, that green stuff. Okay, that's just basically dehydrated vegetables, so that's always good. I try and get a kind that has no sweeteners added, and so it's yucky to taste, but it's good because I don't need to have any more sweeteners. I already have, I drink some Diet Pop and I have Splenda in my tea, so it's sweeteners are the last thing I'm looking to have in a supplement for crying out loud. Sometimes I'll even take greens in pill form. That really avoids a sweetener problem. Omega-3s like fish oil, okay, so you're not going to get a lot of fish oil or omega-3s, in stews and these foods, right? It's a more delicate fat and it's more expensive, so it's not really usually found in canned goods, unless, of course, you buy canned sardines, and then you're going to get awesome amounts of omega-3s, and even in some canned salmon, which I should probably have had here in the house now, in hindsight. Fiber would be another supplement, although you're going to eat foods for that, like chia seeds and flax seeds and psyllium husk, which you can just put into a smoothie or into some yogurt, because a lot of these foods are not going to have a lot of fiber, except for maybe peas, of course. All right, so what else are in these canned goods? Well, they're going to have a little bit more salt for sure, although some of these are pretty low. Like this can of this canned meat here I was looking at it a minute ago. Let me change my glasses. Got to get my good peepers on here. Hello. This can here has 230 milligrams, which is like about 10% of like a healthy intake. So like that's low. What about this guy here? The soup, sodium. Oh, hi. Hello, doctor. 1,500 milligrams. That's about half, or like a third of your, or 2/3, excuse me, of your daily sort of intake. So yeah, see what I'm talking about? Salt. Might get a little salty around here. Refreshing. Monosodium glutamate, I noticed, is in one of these labels here on the soup. And I was like, uh-oh. But guess what? That's actually not as bad, man. Monosodium glutamate, wow. Like, first time I heard it was bad, my friend Woody was like, oh yeah, that actually eats away at the inside linings of your intestines. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm sure I believe you. And then that belief sort of went on into like actually literally a few years ago. So for like 10 years of my nutrition career, I thought MSG was bad for you, but apparently it's actually not that bad. It just sort of, it does this thing that's kind of like this other thing in terms of neurotoxicity, and so it got this like really bad reputation. But MSG is not bad, and that's why the Canadian Food Inspection Agency allows it to go in some of these food products that we eat. Okay, cool. Here's a dark little part of canned goods. BPA, biphosphophenol A, which is like the lining of like plastic containers and cans and stuff like that. So conflicting research, right? Okay, it might be bad, it might not be, but if you're kind of worried about that, then maybe you don't have canned goods. So what else can you eat? Jarred goods, like they call it canning, even though it's made in a jar. Glass, okay, so they vacuum seal it and it's like canned things can be in there. That'd be like a safer alternative to actually tin cans would be glass, but they're still called canned foods even though they're made of glass. So there's gonna be less of that BPA in there, okay? All right, now let's look at some food labels here. So a good portion of protein for a meal is about 30 grams, or if you're a big guy like me, 200-pound man or lady, athletic, training a lot, you want maybe 50 grams at once, okay? So this can here of, turkey breast, can't even focus on that. I'll just tell you what's in it. 20 grams of protein for this. So I would need 2 or 3 of these cans just for one meal. A can of tuna, your typical can of tuna has about 30 grams of protein. Fine. Are there any fats in here in this particular product? 2 grams. And carbs, I would expect no. Let me see here. Yeah, no carbs in here. But that's fine because I'm going to get, like if I ate these like 2 things together, this, even though it's called like prime rib with vegetables, there's way more carbs in here than protein because in a stew there's flour and there's vegetables and potatoes and stuff like that. And of course protein is more expensive, right? Prime rib. Actually, I'm looking forward to eating this, but I bet you I can make a better prime rib than Campbell chunky soup, but I digress. So you might actually see me like eating 2 things of like that together. Now I'm probably get a little full at this point, but I could even add, if I wanted to, like a splash of peas in here. So you can make balanced meals. It's not that hard. It's just a different way that we might eat based on our circumstances. We also have in our dry goods pantry, we have some oatmeal. We have cereal like Bran Buds and Rice Chex. I like to put those 2 cereals together. 1,000 points of light. I haven't been outside since Thursday. It's Monday. What else do we got? Little cans of tuna, like I mentioned, with like the little pull tab. Those are delicious. Those fiber supplements that I mentioned. Nuts like almonds and cashews. Peanut butter. And of course, our fridge is still stocked with like food. So we have a lot of frozen things. Now, fruits. That's what I like to use the freezer for. So frozen blueberries, frozen peaches, frozen mangoes. And you can take some bananas that are right about to go bad and you chop them up and put those in the freezer, and that's great as well. So we have like a couple of days worth of fresh food here, and then maybe a couple of days of canned goods and stuff. So I'm going to use True Local, the frozen meat delivery service that you know. Actually, you can use a coupon code BYRON10, Byron10, if you want to order True Local. We're using grocerygateway.com. I've been a customer since 1999. We might use some Good Food Delivery. So we're leveraging these delivery services. We have been going out to get groceries. We've been wearing a mask lately for that. And it's just, it's kind of getting more scary to sort of go out. So was I prepared with enough canned food? No, I wasn't. but there are other resources right now that bring a certain amount of risk. So in short, in summary, canned goods are perfectly fine to eat. They're healthy. The main concern, which would be a small risk, but it's the main one really, it would be BPA. But in terms of protein, carbs, and fat, and vitamins and minerals, you're fine. Salt might be a bit of a problem. So we're going to take greens powders. We're going to take multivitamins. We're going to take our omega-3 supplements to round out the rest of our diet. You'll have to watch out for the carbs and watch out for the fats, and you're going to have to probably eat more protein than you might think. Like even this can of like chicken with rice. This can only gives me, God, it's crazy, 12 grams of protein in this whole thing. That's it. It's like a third of a portion. So stir in that protein. All right. Reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. I definitely want to hear from you guys through this time, because it's a time for us to share resources and work together. So it doesn't cost you anything to email me with a question. I might just answer it for free. You can hit me up on Instagram, Kyle Byron Nutrition, or here on my YouTube channel or Facebook. I'm trying to be really active on those channels. So thanks for watching, and you guys stay safe out there.